What's going on, everybody? Today's the day. You asked for it, you're gonna get it. Today's video, I'm gonna talk about cars that I regret selling, part 2. Alright, so the first one on this list today is an old one. We left off back when I was stationed in Georgia, and this vehicle in particular I never really did anything with. I had for maybe about 6 months. I bought it for $500. It didn't run. I had somebody tow it for me. Now again, I don't have pictures from way back when, so this is a picture that I picked up off Google. Thanks Google. But it was a 1980 Volkswagen Rabbit pickup. It's a 1.6 liter diesel. I believe it had a manual transmission. It was super rusted out. This one even looks like it has Georgia plates. So it could have been the same one, I don't even know. But found this on Craigslist. I had a friend down in Georgia that was really into the older Volkswagens, and he had a beautiful red Volkswagen Rabbit pickup, and I had dreams and aspirations to kind of do the same thing. Pick one up, restore it, and call it a day. Well, I picked it up, kept it in storage for a while, never really got around to fixing it up, and then I got picked up to go to the academy. So I ended up selling it before I left, and yeah, I kind of wish that I had done more with this vehicle, but at the time I wasn't really making too much, and I didn't really have as much time as I thought I would to go work on it. Or at least I didn't manage my time in a way where it would be beneficial for me to go work on it. So, sold this in Georgia. I had this at the same time I had that silver GTI, but remember, I traded in that GTI for a reason. Now, I went to the dealership to look at this next car, and they weren't really giving me what I wanted to buy it for. So I left the dealership. They called me on my way home and gave me a deal that I liked a little bit better. So I turned around, picked it up, and that first day driving this thing, it was a 2-hour drive back to my house from Atlanta. It was impressive how quickly the accelerator could get away from you. That being said, the next vehicle was a 2012 GLI. Now this vehicle had gone through some stages over the 8 years that I owned it. This stage right here was while I was at the academy. I had just lowered it and bought these wheels, and talk about regret selling. I really regret selling these wheels. They were AMG Aero 2s, 2-piece wheels, but man, they look so good on that GLI, especially with the tinted windows, and they're a lot of fun. I could never get that reverse rake. Well, I wanted to lower the front some, but I ended up raising the rear, and I think it would have looked a lot better if I could have lowered the front a little bit more. But I do have a few more pictures of this GLI. This is right before I sold it, before I got Robin the Ranger. So I had sold this vehicle to CarMax. They gave me a price. I found it at a local car dealership, bought it back. Now for the 7 years up to this point, it was registered in Delaware up until this year. When I bought it back from a local dealer in Virginia, which is why it has a Virginia plate on here, and then I sold it back to CarMax a few months later before I left to get up here to Alaska. And I actually made a profit off of that, which was interesting. This was when I first got the car. Really, I think before I even got my license plates, I got the windows tinted, and this is at home in Delaware. This is one of the first photos I took, I think, with my first digital camera that I ever bought, which was a Canon 60D, and that was a pretty good camera too. And then this, obviously I had raised the rear. Now it was a little bit more level. This was after I had lowered it, but I put the stock wheels back on, so still looks really good there. And this is just another photo I snapped on my phone. I can't get enough of this black and white photo of this vehicle. I think this was actually on my Instagram too. Alright, now this next vehicle I actually didn't really buy myself, but my brother did. I'm actually surprised that I found photos of this car. It would have really been the perfect project car for him and I to work on. And I think in the matter of 2 weeks, man, I turned around and flipped it. So I'm sorry, Jeremy. But this next car is a pretty cool one. Probably one of the cooler cars that I own. So I would rank this right after the 300ZX that I had. And it was a 1988 Toyota Supra. Right, so you can see it's not in the best shape. This is all the photos I had, pretty much. I think these photos are what I put on the Craigslist ad when I put it up for sale after trying to tool around for it a little bit. The only things that we really did was we bled the brakes and got the windshield replaced because there's a big crack in it. But other than that, we didn't really do much. I think I was able to drive it around the block. The clutch definitely needed to be replaced, but I was so impatient at that time. I didn't really have time to put the work in because I was still at the academy. You can even see Tatanka in the background there, that top left hand picture. But yeah, so this was a pretty cool vehicle that I had. I will say that this kind of solidified my love for older cars. If I do get another project car, it's probably going to be something from the 80s or 90s because I just love these old Japanese cars. Now this next vehicle is not necessarily a car, but it is a vehicle that I sold and do regret selling. I bought this after my deployment in 2017. And I kept it for about a year and sold it to one of those like Carvana or something. I don't remember who I sold it to. But it is a 2016 Suzuki Gixxer 750. I had a lot of fun on this bike. The left-hand picture, that's the day I bought it. Man, it was scary riding it out on that first ride home because, I mean, this thing was pretty powerful. At the same time, when I bought this, my buddy Gerald bought a 2016 Bmw S1000rr, which you can see over in the right hand picture. Now that thing was fast and it was super Gucci. What really had me miffed was the place I went to kind of ripped me off, and I paid about the same for my Gixxer 750 as he did for his S1000rr. So I was kind of pissed about that. I spent a lot of time thinking about that, and honestly I don't think I would buy a new bike again unless I won the lottery, but that's okay. Needless to say, I had a blast on this bike. It was a good time. I never went on any long road trips with it. I had thought about driving to Delaware from Virginia, but I never did. So I owned it for about a year and rode in the cold, 30-degree weather, rode in the rain, rode in sunny weather, hot weather. I never tried riding in the snow. Not that we got much in Virginia, but I've seen videos of guys who try riding in the snow and it doesn't really turn out too well. That being said, this is a vehicle that I regret selling. Would I get another Gixxer 750? Yes, probably. I don't think I need a liter bike. If there was a S1000rr for the right price, I might pick it up, but I don't think that I would get anything too powerful now as I'm kind of getting older. But alright, well, looks like I need a part 3. I will say there's one car that I have not been able to find pictures for yet, which is crazy because it was in our family for like the longest time out of any of these vehicles. So if you like this, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and if you want to see part 3, you let me know in the comments below. I'll see you next time.